Hey, what up, guys? It's your boy Harry Wilmington here. Welcome to the launch of Non Juan's album, No Girls for You, the ultimate guide to losing the girl of your dreams. I am so excited for you to be able to listen to this album. Now, I'm not going to be playing a bunch of previews for the album today because I may end up putting up previews of songs later. But I did want to kind of go into the history of Non Juan, the history of the album, and I will be launching the music video for the first single off the album called Tongue Tied today. I also have it be able to, it's going to be its own separate thing on my channel, but you'll be able to see it on this live if you're watching it today. So let's go ahead and talk about this album because I am very excited. So for those of you that have been following me for a long time, you may be aware that I wrote a book a long time ago called No Girls for You, the ultimate guide to losing the girl of your dreams. And on that book, basically, it's 12 chapters of me talking about why all the things that most men think should actually work in dating actually causes women to run away. And it's based on my own experience. And that book itself was a pretty funny book. Like, rather than be, at the time that I wrote the book, I wasn't the guy that knew all about women and actually had like a very bad history of dating in terms of me not knowing what to do, me getting dumped. But at the point that I wrote the book, I'd only had one girlfriend when I was 15. And so I was just really bad at dating. And so I knew at the time I couldn't write a book about how to date, but I thought it'd be funny to take a look back and think about all the things I tried to do that I thought should actually attract women to me, and then try to teach that to guys as, hey, if you want to mess up with women, do all this stuff and you won't get a girlfriend. And that book actually sold surprisingly well. Like, I had it as the online exclusive because it was 156 pages and I didn't want to print all that out. But like, people actually bought the book, and that kind of helped launch me into being able to give dating advice. But at the time, again, I didn't want to start giving advice on how to date women until I actually knew what I was doing. So for the first few years of my giving advice journey, it was all about how not to date. And in the process of that, I created a character named Non Juan. Now, I chose that name because there was a guy out named Don Magic Juan, who also, by the way, appears on this album. So if you've ever watched Snoop Dogg's videos back in the day, he had this guy that kind of had on a lot of green and a green hat and had a pimp cane and stuff like that. Yeah, that guy. I got that guy to actually do stuff for this album and also be in a video, which you'll see later. But anyway, but a Don Juan was typically known as a guy that was very suave and knew how to get with the ladies. So I figured, what would be the opposite of a Don Juan? And my answer was, it would be a non Juan, non meaning not, being not able to, as in can't get women. Now, at the time that I came up with this character, I actually performed him in human form. So I would get like some nerdy glasses and change my voice a little bit. So it sounds like this. And I would do these videos where I'd be giving advice to guys on what I was about to do and then explain the consequences of doing that thing and why it was a bad idea. And so I did that character in a few videos that you can't find on the internet now. And it's a pretty cool, funny concept. But at the time, I was also trying to do serious music. So I didn't do music with him at the time, but I was doing things in the music realm and I wanted to be taken a bit more seriously. So I stopped doing that character, but was still putting out newsletters, giving advice on what not to do. So at the point where I moved out to California, I was working with a guy on trying to launch my dating advice stuff, because I really wanted to be able to help guys figure out this dating thing as I was figuring it out. And, you know, that was always been my passion, was to help guys who were once in a situation I was. And so when I came out here, though, he thought, well, instead of just giving advice on what not to do, why don't we like create an actual character and have him be the one that's like messing up, and we can also use them for like merchandising purposes and whatnot. And so I said, well, what does that look like? And he said, well, why don't we get a puppet? And I was like, I don't know what that looks like. But at this point in my time, I wasn't going to say no to an idea, because I'd always been a solo entity and wanted to take the advice of others. So I said, sure, let's create the puppet. So we literally had Non Juan created from scratch. We literally hired a puppet lady. We came up with a bunch of different character designs that I had to approve of. And we came up with the puppet that you're going to see in the video later on, and that you've probably seen in some of my other videos as of late on the channel. So we worked on Non Juan. And then at that point, we were like, okay, so we have a character. What should we do? Hey, you're trying to do music stuff, so why don't we have him put out an album? So that's what I did. I spent quite a few months putting together songs and writing lyrics that I thought would be really, really funny and hilarious about this puppet character, Non Juan, who's trying to date and he's just not really great at it. And that's what ended up being the album. Now, me and the other guy that I was working with stopped working together. And at that point, I turned Non Juan into more of a advertising thing. Like if you watch a lot of advertisements on YouTube, I've done a lot of ads with Non Juan, but I still wanted to have him put out the actual album. And we had all these songs. I was just like, I want to put these songs out at some point in time. So we already shot videos for it, and I already had an album recorded, and I just never put the album out. So as I've been doing this in the last few years in terms of giving out advice, I've been able to give out some great advice to guys and help them out. And I've always wanted to launch this thing. So I don't have any like grander ideas of like this being like a platinum selling album or anything like this. I just think that it's a really great, funny album that I want to have out there on streaming services. And then I realized we had the album under a different title. And the title of the album was loosely based on another rapper who is very much a problematic figure these days. And so I didn't want to put out the actual album with the original title that we had because I didn't want to be associated with said rapper. So I said, okay, so then what do I name the album? And I realized that this album was really actually based off of a lot of the stuff I talk about in my book, No Girls For You. So I said, you know what? Why don't we just make it a soundtrack? We'll just call it the No Girls For You, the ultimate guide to losing the girl of your dreams soundtrack. And then if you go to the website and get it, we'll just package it with the ebook. So not only will you get an ebook that'll actually like educate you on what not to do with women, but you'll also get a pretty hilarious soundtrack to go with it. On top of this album is going out on streaming services, so you can find it eventually on Spotify, Google, Apple, etc. But there were a couple of songs that I recorded that were parodies of other songs. If you know anything about parody law, trying to put parody songs out on iTunes and stuff these days without full permission is like kind of hard. So the streaming version of the album is 10 songs that are all original songs that was produced by me and my cohort, Captain Cut It 2 Times. And then the one that you get on the website contains 2 additional parodies, which we'll get into later. And by the way, I want to talk about the production real quick. So there was a guy that was a fan of mine named, who at the time his name was Captain King Cut. His name is now Cut It 2 Times, and he is a rapper in his own right. But he had worked with me on a few other musical projects prior to this one. And so we reached out to him and said, hey, we're making this album. We'd love to have your production on it. We will pay you to make beats. And this guy sent me like 20 or 30 beats in the mail, ready to go for this project and any other projects I was working on as an artist of my own right? And these beats are stellar. And I mention this because a portion of the proceeds of the album are going to be going to him because he recently experienced a really big tragedy. Like the house that he was in with some of his other relatives caught on fire, killed his uncle, and displaced all of them. So they are all now homeless. And he's just been such a great help to me over the years, and we're friends. And it's like, I want to make sure that he's able to get the help he can. So when you guys purchase this album at the website, half of the proceeds are going to him to be able to help him in his situation. So you can go to the website like right now. You can go to introvertdatingsuccess.com right now, and you can get the ebook and audio, the ebook and audio soundtrack combination. So when you order the soundtrack, the book comes with it. So you can read the book, you can listen to the soundtrack and have a laugh and learn some stuff. All right. So with all of that said, this is the cover of the album. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to briefly go over each of the songs, and then I will world premiere the song Tongue Tied for you featuring Don Magic Juan. All right. So let me stop sharing this screen and share another screen. Let's see, share screen here. Hold on just a second. Okay. So this is the track listing for the album. And I'm going to go over each of these songs briefly, right? So the first song is the title track called I'm a Non Juan. And this is basically Non Juan just talking about who he is and all the crap that he goes through and explaining why it is women won't date him. So it's a pretty funny way to start off the soundtrack. And at the end of this first song, you'll hear Don Magic Juan giving a little bit of light advice to Non Juan. All right. So that's the first track. The second track, which you're going to see a video for later, is called Tongue Tied. This is the club song. This is Non Juan going to a club and trying to talk to ladies and failing miserably at it. And so he approaches 3 different women in this song, and each time he has an idea of what he wants to say, But then the stuff that he actually says to these women cause them to head for the hills. And you can see Don Magic Juan in this music video just shaking his head like, dude, I taught you all this stuff. How are you still messing up with these women at the club? So again, you'll see the video for Tongue Tied later in this live. So then song number 3 is called 100 Girlfriends and No Girlfriend. And this is based off of my personal life, because back in the day, I was able to amass all these women, female friends of mine, and I could not make any of them my girlfriend. And I imagine that's a situation that a lot of guys deal with, where they're trying to attract women, but they end up in the friend zone instead. And then they just amass this group of women that they want to be actually dating, but they're not able to, and they don't know how to make that happen. So I thought it'd be a funny song to put together, just so you can get another perspective of like how this goes, where a guy's like, hey, I keep trying to date these girls, and I keep getting the let's just be friends speech, and I don't know what to do. So that's song number 3. The 4th song is called A Day in the Life of a Non Juan. And the opening part of it is Don Juan trying to picture what Non Juan's day looks like every day. And then it goes into the actual song, where it's just giving an example of a hilarious and yet uneventful day that a Non Juan has, trying to be out there in the world while trying to attract women and not being able to do a good job at it. So it's one of those songs that I like being creative and telling stories. So I wanted to put together a song for Non Juan that was going to be able to tell just a short story about his day. The 5th song is the Non Juan Dance. Now, as you know, rappers are always trying to come up with dances, and dance crazes are amok on TikTok. So I thought, what would be a funny, trendy dance that Non Juan would try to come up with and then sell to people? And so this is that song where he's trying to give all these various instructions of a dance for people to do in the hopes of getting them to dance and hoping that it'll attract women. And by the end of the song, you'll see that him trying to come up with all these steps just gets really, really haywire, and it ends up being this big debacle at the end, all right? So that's the 5th song. The 6th song is called Out of Luck. This is one of those songs, like if you think back to like the Yin Yang Twins, they did the Whisper song. This is like one of those songs where he's trying to talk in a really smooth voice and get the women all interested. And he's talking in that voice, and all he's talking about is how he wants to take a woman out, but he has no money. So he lists a litany of all these cheap things he's going to try to do to impress her. You can guess how that ends. Does it impress her? You'll have to listen to the song and find out, but my guess is probably not. The 7th song is called Whack-itis, and this is very simply just Non Juan explaining why he is so whack. Apparently, he was just born that way, and then he gives examples of times that he understood he was being whack, but he just can't help himself because of this horrible disease. And he's on a date. He's on a date explaining to this woman in front of him why it is he can't get dates, how he's got this disease called whack-itis, all the stuff that he's into and stuff that he does. And then at the end, the date doesn't end very well either, right? So that's whack-itis. And at the end of that song also, you hear Don Magic Juan again talking about just how upset he is that in spite of him teaching Non Juan all this stuff, he still just can't get it, right? Number 8 is called Hoopty. And I figure all rappers have car songs, and usually it's car songs where they're like, oh, I got this brand new Ferrari, I got this BMW, I got these rims on my tire. And so I thought it'd be funny, like if a Don Juan would have a really nice car with some spinners on it, what would a Non Juan have? He'd probably have a really old beat up car that barely works, and he'd still be proud of it because ultimately it's what he has to drive. So the whole car is just talking about this beat up raggedy car that he wants to try to use to take a girl on a date, and just how messed up the car actually is. Song number 9 is called Alone, and this features an opening and an ending by Don Magic Juan. So he opens up the track talking about like how he can't understand how Non Juan is just not able to be able to get women. From there, Non Juan talks about being alone, and he talks about 2 instances where he tried to date these girls, and then last minute they either bailed out or went with somebody else, thus leaving him all alone. It's my favorite song on the album because I love the beat. Like I said, Cutter 2 Times is an amazing producer, and the beats he made for this album are absolutely stellar. And this is one of those tracks that's kind of gloomy. There's a little bit of rain in the beginning, and it just gives the feel of being alone in addition to the words on the track. There's also a guest female artist that's on there that I knew back in Atlanta that I was in contact with briefly, and she'd wanted to be on an album. So I said, hey, could you do this female part for this song that I'm doing? And then I never heard from her again. So I don't even know her name anymore. I don't know how to credit her, but she did a great job being the girl that rejects Non Juan on the phone in this song. And then the song ends with Don Juan basically just talking about the pitfalls of Non Juan and how he's going to still try to help him out, right? So that's technically the ending of the album. But then there's 3 other songs that I consider bonus songs, right? So the first song is called You Can't Get Her Back. Now, this is a song that I did around the time that I figured maybe it'd be cool for Non Juan to actually give really good advice to guys instead of giving bad advice. And so I recorded the song, and then I realized I still want Non Juan to be like the puppet that can't get women. But I liked the song enough, and I thought it gave some solid advice on guys that are trying to get women back that dumped them. What should they be doing in order to try to win their affection back? More often than not, the answer is you can't get her back. And I thought that would be a good song to put on this album. It would almost be like if Non Juan actually took Don Juan's lessons to heart and then tried to give them to other people, this is what that would sound like. And then we have the 2 parody songs that I couldn't put on the streaming versions, but you'll get on this version. The first song is called Cell Phone Bling. It's a parody of Drake's Hotline Bling, where it's basically talking about why you shouldn't be texting women to try to get dates. This is one of the few songs that I actually do as Harry Wilmington. And I did this song because guys are always hitting me up saying, hey, I've been texting a girl for 3 weeks and she's starting to fall off. What's going on? Or I'm texting this girl for a date. She won't say yes. What's going on? And my response is always like, it's better to call her or to send us a text, ask for the date, and then that's it. So at the time, Drake's Hotline Bling was really popular. And so I did a parody to that. There's also a music video that I recorded for that will be coming out soon. I also did a video for You Can't Get Her Back too that I'll be putting out along in this album rollout. And then the last song was probably the oldest song that I've done, which is Erectile Dysfunction. This is a parody of Snoop Dogg's Sensual Seduction from back in the day. And I just thought it'd be funny if, like, let's say Non Juan actually was to take a woman home. How would he then fail there? And the easiest thing was like, oh, even if he got a woman home, he'd probably have erectile dysfunction and wouldn't be able to actually get her satisfied in the bedroom. And yes, there is definitely a video to this that will be coming out. That'll probably be the next video coming out in a couple of weeks, and it's absolutely hilarious. So those are the songs that are on this album. And now, as promised, I want to give you guys the world premiere of Non Juan's video for Tongue Tied. This is a video we shot a while back. And like I said, it features Don Magic Juan helping him out, along with some wonderful ladies that decided to be the women that Non Juan tries to hit on in the club, to hilarious results. So let's check out this world premiere of Non Juan's new song and music video for Tongue Tied.
Non Juan, why are you putting your head down? Come on now, why are you acting like that? I mean, what, did you under cardiac arrest or something? What's finna happen? I only asked you to ask the girl for money. Hey, wait, get up. What, are you falling? Oh, don't do it.
Here we are again, Non Juan. Another night at the club. So many single girls around here. I'm already getting nervous. Okay. Whatever you do, Non Juan, don't panic. You gotta talk to these girls eventually. When I see a hot girl, my tongue gets twirled. I don't know what I'll say. And the next thing I know, my chance with her is blown, while my mouth gets carried away. I'm tongue-tied. I get tongue-tied. Okay, Non Juan, this time you gotta do it. It's not hard to do, just talk yourself through it. She's only a girl, just another human person, so there's no reason at all for you to get nervous. Ahem. Hello, I'm Non Juan, and what's my name? Wait, I mean, what's your name? Just a little joke. Why would I ask for my name? I mean, I already know that. And unless you have my name, well, it'd be kind of weird, like I'm asking a dude out. Not that it appears that you're a guy. I mean, sure, you have a little hair right under your nostrils on your face right there. Not that your nostrils would be anywhere else. I mean, if they were, you probably need surgical help. Anyway, hey, don't run away. I'm sorry. That's not what I was trying to say. When I see a hot girl, my tongue gets twirled. I don't know what I'll say. And the next thing I know, my chance with her is blown, cause my mouth gets carried away. I'm tongue-tied. I get tongue-tied. Okay, let's try it again. Oh my gosh, there's a girl coming my way and she looks like a 10. My palms are getting sweaty again. Don't panic, Non Juan. Just show that you got it going on. Excuse me, hi, it's nice to meet me. I mean you, it's nice to meet you. Woo. I think you look hot in the way that you strut. You look like Halle Berry, but with a smaller butt. Wait, I didn't mean, what I mean was, your butt's not small, it's big. I mean, not that big, not like that big. I'm just saying it's a nice size. Not that I'm just staring at your butt. Your thighs are also nice. I can't see them, but I'm sure they're there, right underneath your underwear. Not that I know if you have any underwear on, but wait! Oh, another one's gone. When I see a hot girl, my tongue gets swirled. I don't know what I'll say. What am I doing? And the next thing I know, my chance with her's blown, cause my mouth gets carried away. I'm tongue-tied, 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 tongue-tied. I get tongue-tied, 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 tongue-tied. Okay, let's try this one more time. Here comes another girl, and she's also a dime. Before you go over there and your tongue gets in the way, let's stop and think about the things that you're really trying to say. Hello, how are you? My name is Non Juan. I know you don't know me, but I got it going on. I think me and you should go out on a date. How about Tuesday night? I'll pick you up at 8. Sounds good. Okay, now go for it. Excuse me. Hello, how are you? My name is Non Juan. I wet my bed nightly and I'm still a virgin. And I think that me and you should date out on a somewhere go. You can wear something sexy, but don't dress like a. Oh no, wait! That's not me talking. That's my brain. My words know the tongue that I said to men. I mean, it's a hot girl. My tongue gets swirled. I don't know what I'll say. And the next thing I know, my chance with her is blown. Cause my mouth gets carried away. I'm tongue-tied, 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 tongue-tied. I get tongue-tied, 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 tongue-tied. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Oh, why do I even try? Every time I talk to a girl, I panic. I'm going home. I'm gonna go play some video games. Something I'm actually.
Hey, this is a terrible disappointment here. I mean, I used some real I've used some quality hours with you. I mean, I explained it to you. I gave you parable. I drew you diagram. I even we did a rehearsal. How could you be that disappointing? What is it even like to be tongue-tied by a woman?
Oh man, we had a lot of fun making that video. That was so great. So yeah, that's the video for Tongue Tied. And like I said, that single is now available on streaming platforms as well as the album. You can go get the full album again at introvertdatingsuccess.com. Also, when you get the album, as I've said plenty of times here, let me show us real quick. Make sure you guys are aware of this. When you get the album, you'll also get privy to the ebook, No Girls for You, the ultimate guide to losing the girl of your dreams. This is the ebook that explains to you why all the things you're doing to try to get women are actually causing you to lose them. As you can see, we got chapters such as the making of a Non Juan, the nice guy, a perfect image for the Non Juan, gifts, a Non Juan's best friend, compliments, the Non Juan way to talk yourself out of a woman's heart, paying for everything, the Non Juan way to lose money and grow at the same time, sacrifice, how the Non Juan forfeits his life for her schedule, first impressions, the Non Juan's guide to looking your worst, phone calling, the Non Juan way, notes and poems, the Non Juan way to write yourself out of a woman's heart, honesty is the best policy for a Non Juan, no problems, no girlfriend, the Non Juan facade, denial, the Non Juan way of coping with rejection, sex in the inexperienced Non Juan, and of course, Non Juan fiction versus relationship reality. And so this is the book that I wrote that helped me figure out why all the things I was doing was chasing women away. And once I wrote the book, I was able to start doing the right things. And when I started kind of doing the wrong things, I would reference this to be, okay, don't do this and here's why, don't compliment him, here's why, don't call him so much and here's why, et cetera, et cetera. Really great book again. So between the album and the book, guys, you are going to get a lot of value out of this. You're going to be able to learn some actual stuff and listen to a very hilarious album full of great lyrics and funny situations, all right? So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys, and I appreciate all you guys that have been following me all this time. I hope you enjoy the book. I hope you enjoy the soundtrack. Be sure to go to the website to check it out. And yeah, guys, that's all I got for today. Thank you so much for checking this out. The video for Tongue Tied will be a separate entity that is dropping at 12 o'clock today. So be sure to check that out and share it with your friends and all that good stuff. And I will catch you guys on the next show. I'm out. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Introvert Dating Success Podcast. Visit us at introvertdatingsuccess.com for more great tips on attracting women using your natural introvert charm. Oh, yeah.